One you're going to want to take notes on because this tends to be a little bit harder for people to grasp, but I don't know why. Focus for a minute, and I feel like I should be able to explain it to you pretty well. So if I asked you to, they might ask you to state the domain, and we're just doing basic domain, and only one type of problem for this unit. So domain means what could you, if you wanted, if you so desired, what could you plug in for x right here? Not solving, notice we're not solving, there's no equal sign, does everybody see? Just what could you plug in? Well, pretty much any number, but there is one number you could not plug in. Now, what would that number be? Well, everyone, just a reminder, we have a fraction right here. See, divide. We cannot divide by 0. That is considered undefined. Bad news, bad news. You cannot divide by 0. So, the only number that is a problem is the number that would make the bottom 0. Top can be 0. The bottom cannot be 0. Does everybody see? So if you look at this, you'd say, well, okay, the top can be 0. It doesn't matter. It's 5, whatever. The bottom, however, cannot be 0. So you literally just set yourself up a true statement. It is true to say 2x plus 1 cannot be 0. True? Now just solve for x. Solve for x. Get x alone, piece by piece. So what would we do? Subtract 1. 2x cannot equal negative 1. Then divide by 2, divide by 2. X cannot be negative a half, because if you take negative a half and plug it in, it makes a 0. Does everybody see? Pretty easy, right? It's just you had to set up the solving part. So the answer is, the domain is all real numbers except x cannot be negative a half. Pretty easy. All right, so let's do this one. What would be yes? Sure, yes. And we'll talk about another way in just a second, but yes. That's a great way to start out. So let's go ahead and do another one. So looking at this one, number 7, this is 74 out of 1 point. I think it's actually still in 1.1. So let's look. What would be the true statement on this one? Anyone? I just told you how to do it. 5x plus 8, the denominator cannot be 0. Solve for x. So you'd have 5x cannot be negative 8. So I subtract 8, right? Divide by 5, divide by 5. Therefore, x cannot be negative 8/5. It can be any other number except negative 8/5. Pretty straightforward stuff. All right, let's look at this one. Can the top be 0? Yes. So what would be the true statement here? This cannot equal 0. And then you just solve for x. You guys get the picture here? All real numbers except whatever makes the bottom 0. Are we all good here? This is for right now all we have to worry about for domain. We'll do it more types of domains in the future, but for right now, they're seeing if you know how to do the domain when dealing with a fraction, when the denominator has a variable. Okay, awesome. Do I have to go through this one or can we go on? Okay, moving on. All right, 1.2 is just going to be solving linear equations again. It's just going to be in the form of words. So basically problem solving, very basic. Two keywords. If you see the word sum and more than, that means add. If you see the words difference or less than, that means subtract. So if you need to write that down, quickly do. So it's just going to be us having to write out the equation before we solve it, because it's going to be given in word form. We got to go a little bit quick. So then quotient or fraction means division. Product of or times means multiply. So let's look at a few examples. We'll come back to the percent ones. Okay, we're going to come back to the percent ones. Okay, let's look at this example. The difference of 10 and some number x is 6. The first thing I would do is say, kind of work a little bit backwards. Is 6, does not mean equals 6. Everybody see, is 6 would be equal 6. So it says the difference, so, elbow, okay. The difference is a subtraction sign, is it not? The difference of 10, so doesn't 10 go first? The difference of 10 and some number, do we know the number? X is 6. You guys see how I set up the true statement? Then from there, the algebra is subtract 10, divide by negative 1. You guys see how it's pretty basic? The hard part's setting it up, yes. Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. No, you're just, okay. Stroking the hair, okay. So we have negative x equals negative 4, so therefore x equals 4. Questions on that? Okay, don't overcomplicate it. Think a little bit, but don't overcomplicate them. Okay, let's read another one. It says the sum of 2 times y and 3 is 16. So let's start with is 16. Doesn't that mean equals 16, everyone? Okay, it says the sum. So where should I put? An addition sign. Now it says the sum of 2 times y. So shouldn't I put a 2y? 2 times y? The sum of 2 times y and 3, the and was this, right? And 3 is 16. And you guys see how the hardest part was just setting it up. Solve for y from there. Are we all good with setting that up? Now we have to look really carefully at this problem versus the next one. So let's read this next one. 4 times the sum of a number, z and 3 is 15. There's a teeny tiny word difference on this one that's going to make a world of difference in how we set it up. So first of all, is 15. Doesn't that mean equals 15? Okay, so it says 4 times the sum of a number z and 3. So what do you think that means? Parentheses. So it's 4 times, now it says the sum of a number z and 3 is 15. So do you guys see the difference in the wording between this one and the last one? That kind of makes it a parentheses type problem. 4 times the sum of a number z and 3. So very good. Okay. So then from there you could solve however you'd like. Any questions on that? You okay? You want to cry? No? Okay, good. I would be so sad. Okay. Here we go. The difference of x and 5 equals the quotient of x and 2. So let's do the first one. The difference of x and 5, what would that be? X minus 5 is, so equals, the quotient of x and 2. So what would go on top? X, because that came first. The quotient of x and 2. So quotient means division. Now solve for x. I am going to solve for x on this one. What would we do? We'd get a common denominator, right? Times by 2. Times by 2. Do I need to do anything with the denominator at this point? Nope. Solve with the numerator. Ding, ding. 2x minus 10 equals x. Now, people get thrown off here for some odd reason. Guys, it's just combine your x's. So subtract 2x, subtract 2x. Negative 10 equals negative x, is it not? So then divide both sides by negative 1, x equals 10, and voila. Alrighty, good job. 3 less than a number y is 5 times y. Now people set this up backwards all the time. It says 3 less than a number y. Think about that. 3 less than some number. So what should go first? Y, because it's 3 less than that number. So y minus 3, that's 3 less than a number. And then it says is 5 times y. So then how would we solve? Subtract y, correct? So we'd have negative 3 equals 4y divided by 4. And there's our answer. So just read it, think about it really carefully. Okay, write this one down. It says the sum of 4 consecutive odd integers is 104. Find the integers. So first of all, I want to remind you of something. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is just trying to help you see what this means. Okay? So it says the sum, that means addition. If we add 4 consecutive means comes one right after another. Now this one says they have to be odd integers. So we're only adding odd numbers like 1, 3, 5, 7. Do you guys see? And you see why they're consecutive. Those odd numbers come one right after another, do they? Okay. Now we don't know if it's 1, 3, 5, 7. We have no idea what it is. True? So what is the first number? We don't know. So let's call the first number x. Does everybody see? We don't know what the first number we're adding is. It's some odd number. Does everyone agree? Now right here, if this is x, what would be considered this if it's the next term? X plus 1. Isn't it one more, guys? So what would this be? X plus 2. 3, x plus 4, x plus 5. Now we're only adding up then x plus 6. Do you guys see? We don't know what x is, but wouldn't this be a true statement if we did know what x is? So which would I add? X plus, we're only doing odds, so look, I'm crossing out the evens. So x plus 2. Isn't that the next one, everyone? Plus, what's the next one? X plus 4 plus, so that was 1, 2, 3, we're doing 4. So then we have a x plus 6. There's our 4 consecutive odd integers. Integers means whole numbers. And it says it is equal to 104. So now from there, we're going to solve. So you'd combine like terms. 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x. 4x. 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So plus 12 equals 104. Then from there, you'll subtract 12 divided by 4. Does everybody see? The hardest part was setting it up. Does that make sense? So what if on the test, they said 4 consecutive even integers? Could we start with x? No, that's odd. What would we have to start with? X plus 1, x plus 3, x plus 5, and x plus 7. You guys see how they kind of just draw yourself a little picture and think about it a little bit? Awesome. All right. Okay, so let's look at, this is number 29 on the homework. So we have to remember how to find the average of something. To find the average, what you'll do is you sum up the numbers, then you divide it by the total count of numbers, meaning the total number of numbers you stuffed up on top. So let's read number 29. It says, going into a final exam, which counts as 2 grades, Kendra's test scores are 84, 78, 64, and 88. What score does Kendra need on the final exam in order to have an average of 80? So first of all, the final counts as 2 scores, true? Do we know the scores? Anyone? Do we know the scores? No, we have no idea what score she needs, everyone. But how many X's is there? We don't know a score. It counts as 2 test scores. Do you guys see how that's 2 test scores? We don't know the score. Then we add, we're doing average here, so what's the next test score? 84 plus 78. We're doing average plus 64. Oops, a little squishy. Plus 88. Aren't those her test scores? We're finding average, so that would be divided by how many tests technically. Yes, this is 1 test, but isn't it 2 tests technically? Since it's worth 2 test scores. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does everybody see how there are 6 total? Divided by 6. Now, what does it need to equal? This literally says the average. So what does it need to equal? 80. So equals 80. So there's our true statement. Solve for x. So shouldn't we put our x's together? Everyone? 2x? Sure. So we have, and then, so let's do 2x, and then let's add up our numbers real quick. So let's go 84 plus 78 plus 64 plus 88. So we have 2x plus 3/14 divided by 6 equals 80. Now let's solve for x. Now technically I'm getting a common denominator if we want to think of it that way, right? So wouldn't we times by 6? Times by 6, everyone? So now we would have 80 times 6. So our true statement is 2x plus 3/14 equals 480. Solve for x, everyone. So 480 minus 3/14. So 2x equals 166 divided by 2, right? So x equals 83. She has to get an 83% on the final exam to end up with an average test score of 80. Questions on that? So what if it would have been worth 3 times a normal test? What would we have put? X plus x plus x, right? Then what would we put down here? 7, because there were 7 test scores technically. Okay, very good job. Alrighty, good job, you guys. Okay. All right, we're gonna go back and talk about percents for a second. So let's remind ourselves how a percent works. So this is what percent is set up. You take some number and then you times it by some percent, and that will equal some amount. Take some number, times it by some percent, and that will equal some new number, right? That will equal a value. So we have to do percents as decimals. So just make sure percents are written as mathematical decimals. So let's set number 9 up. It says, what is 25% of 40? So look at my truth statement here. Where does the 40 go? Aren't we finding 25% of 40, everyone? 25% of 40. So we're going to want the 40 on this side. You guys see? So we have 40 times by 0.25. That's how we write 25%. And that's equal to some number. Isn't that what we're trying to find? 25% of 40. So you would just literally do that in your calculator if you need to. So obviously 40 times 0.25. So we get 10, obviously. So, but maybe not. Okay, so here we go. So we would get 10. Questions on that? So 10 was the amount after we took the percent. So let's do this one. How would we set this one up? 30 is what percent of 80? Now, aren't we trying to find the percent? We don't know the percent. You guys agree? So I'm going to set it up. We don't know our percent, but we do know these two numbers. Now, what goes where? Yes. Good. 80 goes on the left, and then 30 goes on the right. Can everyone see why? Because it says 30 is. You guys see how it is 30? Our answer is 30, so it said 30 is what percent of 80? So if you take 80 and times it by some percent, that needs to equal 30. So get question mark by itself. We'll divide by 80, divide by 80. So then you do 30 divided by 80. So that's question mark is equal to, it comes out to be 0.375. How do we write that as a percent? 37.5%. Questions on that? Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Okay, so let's do this one. 50 is 90% of what? Now, we have to set this up. You'd say, so we have a number times by some percent, and that's going to equal some new number. So we've got to be careful here. 50 is 90% of what? 50 is. So where should the 50 be? Here or here? The second one, right? So equals 50. Do we know the first number? No, so we don't know the first number, but we do know the percent. 0.90. Solve for the number. What would we do? Divide by 0.90. Divide by 0.90. So our number that we originally started with, you'll do 50 divided by 0.90. That's equal to 55.5 repeating. So 5, 6. Sure, close enough. Does that make sense how to set these up? You just, hopefully that kind of helps, because I remember percents used to be a little bit hard for me back in the day. Okay, awesome job, guys. All right. Okay, so it says, in the state of Texas, there is a sales tax of 6.25% on all goods purchased. If Megan buys 4 compact discs for $39.83, what will be the final bill, including sales tax? So how would we do this, everyone? So it says, we got to add on the sales tax, right? Yes, everyone? So we would do 39.83. There's a couple ways to do this. What would we times by? I think that's the total after she buys the 4 discs. But good thought. So what do we need to times by? Okay, you could times by 0.0625, but then when you get an answer, what do you have to do? You have to add it to, oh, it says what will be the final bill, including sales tax. So once you do that, what would you have to add? 39.83. Does everyone see? So what's an even easier way? I'll tell you. We could times by, aren't we going to get back 100% worth of that amount? So we add a 1 in front. That's 100% of that back plus an additional 0.0625% of that. Does everyone see? Either way works. Does that make sense though? We're going to have that full 100% back plus an additional 0.0625. So if you did 39.83 times by 1.0625, that would be $42.32. It doesn't matter though, that was just so straight, the way you were talking. Okay, awesome. All right, so we don't have time to practice on 1.2, but 1.3 is the easiest lesson out of everything we've learned today. So don't fret, don't be like, wow, I want this time. Because 1.3 is going to be really easy. Okay, so the only thing 1.3 is that's different is we're not going to be able to solve for an exact answer. We're going to solve what are called literal equations. Now what that means is, notice there's two variables here. You can't actually solve for the variables. How would you do that, right? There's only one, there's two variables. So basically it's just asks you to solve for a variable and you're gonna have an expression as your answer. So it says solve for y. So that means get y all by itself. So what would we do? Subtract 2x, subtract 2x. So isn't y by itself? That's your goal, right? To solve for y. So we have y is equal to negative 2x plus 13. Could I have written 13 minus 2x? Yes. Same thing. All good? See, it's not hard. In fact, this is the probably easiest one. Okay, let's do another one. Solve for y. What would you do? Subtract 4x. You guys are probably going to get more out of just watching some of these. So 2y is equal to negative 4x plus 20. Solve for y. Next step. Divide everything by 2. Now, you're going to want your answers, you need them in the most simplified form. Doesn't this divide by 2? Doesn't this divide by 2? So what's negative 4 divided by 2? So negative 2x, what's positive 20 divided by positive 2? Plus 10. There's your answer. See, we can't actually solve for anything, but we can solve with an expression as our answer. Okay. Couple more just to make sure we're good. Solve for y. Now look, many variables. Don't freak out. There's nothing different here. Get y along piece by piece. Can I subtract 4e? No. What about this divided by 7? Isn't all of this divided by 7, everyone? Well, then you got to take care of the divide by 7 first. How do you get rid of divide by 7? Good. Times by 7 to both sides technically, and it divides out right here, right? So now I have this true statement. 2z minus 3y plus 4e equals 7 smiley face. Get y alone. Next step. Minus 2z minus 4e. Can I hit two birds with one stone? Why not? I'll do it to this side. Minus 2z minus 4e. So now what's on this side? Negative 3y is equal to 7 smiley face minus 2 z's minus 4 e's. Get y alone. Next step. Divide by negative 3. Now if you go to the back of the book, they're not going to leave the answer like that. Here's what they're going to do. It's just not considered pretty to have a negative in the denominator. Not that it's wrong. So what they'll do is they'll take the negative and instead they'll put it on top. Can it go on top or bottom? Yeah, same thing, right? So they're going to scribble that bad boy out and they're going to put it on top. But if you put it on top, you've got to distribute it through to everything. So if this was positive, it's now negative. If this is negative, it's now positive. If this is negative, it's now positive. That's how they'll write the final answer. Negative 7 smiley plus 2 z's plus 4 e's all over 3. Yes? Yeah, probably. Not that I'd probably mark it wrong. I might, but I might not. So I just would. All right, solve for D. Solve for big D. Okay, guys, let's look at this. What should be our first step? We could distribute. There's another option too. I'd get rid of the 1/3. Anyone else? Would you get rid of the 1/3? How do you get rid of 1 divided by 3? Times by 3. Isn't that going to get rid of it, everybody? So times by 3, times by 3. So now don't we have 6p equals x big D plus little d. Okay, solve for big D. Next step. Divide by x. So 6p divided by x equals big D plus little d. Now what? Subtract little d. So we have 6p divided by x minus little d equals big D, and we've solved. So it's just testing your algebra skills. So for the most part, pretty basic stuff, everyone. Questions? Okay. All right. Hey, if I said to you solve for big X, what would you do? Solve for X, not X1. Solve for X, what would we do? Subtract C. 7 minus C equals A. X1, X divided by B. Get rid of B. Times by B, but isn't there two terms? So I need parentheses, don't I? So times by B, okay? Then what? B times T minus C equals A, X1, X. Guys, we're just trying to get X alone. Aren't these times signs? Divide by AX1. Divide by AX1. And X is all by itself. And now you solve. So it's pretty intuitive for the most part. Make sure you're checking your answers in the back of the book. And if you're finding you're not getting stuff right, you've got to ask me for help one-on-one. Okay, next. All right. I think we probably get the picture here. Do you agree? Okay. Sweet. Are you sure we're good? You don't need any more examples. Okay, sweet. All right, so don't let story problems throw you off. The only reason I put this one up is to just stress to you how story problems are not any harder. Let's read the problem. The area A of a right circular cylinder is given by this formula. Yes, it's a hideous formula. That doesn't mean they're going to ask you to use the dang formula, so stop freaking out. And it says, where R is the radius and H is the height. Well, great. It says solve the formula for H. Are we doing anything different than what we just did? No, just because there's words in it doesn't make it hard necessarily. So let's just solve for H. First step, subtract 2 pi r squared, right, guys? It's not just a variable. Don't let the square throw you off. There's not solving for r, are we? No. So we subtract. We have a, so we're subtracting 2 pi r squared. So a minus 2 pi r squared equals 2 pi r h. We're trying to solve for h. Next step. Divide 2 pi r, divide 2 pi r. Isn't h alone? Now, is it okay to divide out 2 pi r's? Heck to the no. Why? Because there's a subtraction sign. Wasn't a also divided by 2 pi r? Don't be that person that says, I can divide those out. Because then you pretended like a wasn't also divided by 2 pi r. Yes, it is. Does everybody see? There's your final answer. Right there. Don't ski. Okay. Now it says, determine the height. Well, the reason I had you solve for h is because now determining the height is going to be easy. It says, determine the height of a right circular cylinder with a surface area of 72 pi square centimeters whose radius is 4 centimeters. So wouldn't I just take and plug those values in up here? Does everybody agree? We'll just plug it in, calculate it with our calculator. Does anyone see it's not super bad? Does that make sense? Are you sure? You gotta say like, no, Ms. Christensen, it actually doesn't make any sense. If it really doesn't. You promise? Okay. Awesome. All right. All right, we made it. We have even 7 minutes to spare. So, work on some homework, ask me questions, talk to me about any questions or concerns you may have.